Ladies and gentlemen, Lori Cardoza-Moore here again. I want to update our PJTN Watchmen about the continued media campaign going on with Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar and them not being able to go into Israel. Of course, we know Rashida Tlaib was allowed to go in for humanitarian purposes to go visit with her grandmother, but she rejected. And of course, now I just saw something come across the wire that she was crying, that Rashida Tlaib was crying. She got emotional. Well, you know what? It's time to put on your big girl panties and get over it, Rashida, and stop playing your whining games and making women look like we're weak. And we don't cry about things about not getting our way. That was years ago. We don't do that here. But I do want to update you because I have been on the internet kind of scanning to see what kind of information was out there about them, what they're saying. And I came across an interesting graphic that was used to promote their event at Christ at the Checkpoint or the Bethlehem Bible College. And as you know, I stated in the previous email, this is not a legitimate organization, Christian organization. They are frauds. They are preaching and teaching heresies that are unbiblical. And if you are a follower of Christ at the Checkpoint, if I'm wrong, show me in the text of Scripture in proper context. Don't quote to me Scripture like what this graphic is quoting, taking it out of context to try to legitimize their position. No, ladies and gentlemen, if we want to know how we are to stand, we are to study the Bible to show ourselves approved. And there is nothing in the text of scripture to substantiate their position. And I'm going to show you how they so craftily take Scripture out of context to substantiate their position. So I'm going to flip the phone around, and I want you to look at this graphic real quick. Let's make sure you can see this. You'll see this is what was on the internet, and you can see Amos chapter 5, verse 24. It's written in English, and then it's written in Arabic as well. So let me just read to you the scripture. I don't know if you were able to see the verse that they're quoting from out of Amos chapter 5, verse 24. Let justice roll on like a river, righteousness like a never-failing stream. Okay, so great scripture, but unfortunately, they're taking this verse out of context. And I'm going to show you why. Because this verse, using the two words, there are two key words in this verse, justice and righteousness. And so when we're studying the Bible, we should go back to find out what these words mean from a Hebraic perspective, not in English, not Greek. We should learn what the words mean from Hebrew, because that's how the Bible was written down by Hebrews. And so when we look up that word in the Hebrew, let me just tell you, it is the Hebrew word in Strong's. If you have your Strong's Concordance, all you have to do is look it up in Strong's and look it up under the Hebrew, and it's Strong's number 6666, and it's Tzedakah. That's the Hebrew word, which means righteous, rectitude, justice, moral virtue, prosperity, justice, moderately, right or righteous, to act justly, righteousness. This is the Hebraic meaning, definition of these two words. But Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib are using it, or the people who are promoting it at Christ at the Checkpoint are using it for their purposes. So let's also, one of the other things we should do is we should let the Bible define the Bible. So we should go back to the Bible. We should look to see where this scripture or where these words are first used. So we're going to start with the word righteousness. And righteousness is actually found for the first time in Genesis chapter 15, starting in verse 5. And I want you to just follow along with me. If you've got a Bible, please feel free to open it up. But it says in Genesis 15, verse 5, and this is where God is talking about his covenant with Abram. His covenant with Abram. I wonder what that means. Verse 5 starts, then he brought him outside, and this is God, brought Abram outside, and said, "Look now toward heaven and count the stars, if you are able to number them." And he said to him, "So shall your descendants be." And he believed in the Lord, and he accounted it to him for righteousness. So here was Abram. God took him out, told him to go look at the stars of the heavens, sands on the seashore, and all the land, Abraham, or Abram at that time, I'm giving it to you and your descendants forever. So how do the Palestinians, just even with this scripture, how can the Palestinians or these Arabs who call themselves Palestinians legitimize their right to the biblical homeland that was given, that God gave to Abraham, where clearly he states right here that Abram's descendants are going to be like the stars of the heavens and the sands on the seashore, and all of the land, that's part of the covenant, are going to be given to him and his descendants forever. So let's look at another verse. So we're going to look at the word justice, and when does justice show up? So in Genesis chapter 18, again, this is God in chapter 18. God is giving this word to Abraham that he is going to be the son of promise. There's going to be a nation that's going to come from him. And when we go to verse 18 and 19 of Genesis 18, it says, we'll start at verse 17. And the Lord said, "Shall I hide from Abraham what I am doing? Since Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the world or of the earth shall be blessed in him. For I have known him in order that he may command his children and his household after him, that they keep the way of the Lord, to do righteousness and justice, and that the Lord may bring Abraham what he has spoken to him." And what did he speak to Abraham? He told Abraham, I'm going to make your descendants like the stars of the heavens and the sands on the seashore, and all the land you see, I'm giving it to you and your descendants forever. He did not say he was giving it to the Arabs. He did not say he was giving it to the Palestinians. He gave Ishmael's descendants land, but that land is east of Canaan. Canaan was given to Israel, all 12 tribes forever. It was unconditional. It was an unconditional covenant. However, when we have people like Christ at the Checkpoint and Bible Bethlehem College and these supposed theologians who are teaching false doctrine and tradition like liberation theology, like replacement theology, then you confuse Christians. And you know, I'm reminded in the New Testament to these leaders who are teaching even one of these, my little ones, wrong or falsely. It would be better for you to have a millstone wrapped around your neck and you be thrown into the depths of the sea. That's how serious this is for these teachers who are teaching these false truths. And I was just reading another response to this on Twitter by Kay Wilson. And Kay even said she knew a Christian Palestinian friend who was ridiculed at the Bible Bethlehem College because he was supportive of Israel. And of course, he had to leave the college because he was persecuted. So unfortunately, that's the reality of the Palestinian supposed Christians that are living there. Remember, over 80% of Christians, legitimate Christians, fled Bethlehem because of the propaganda and because of the persecution of Christians who would not fall in line with Yasser Arafat or Mahmoud Abbas or their henchmen. So, ladies and gentlemen, stand by. I'm sure there's going to be more. I will be back on to quote as developments continue to unfold. This isn't going away anytime soon. God bless you, and thank you for tuning in. And don't forget to share this with your family and friends. And don't forget, go to the website, sign the petition to remove Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. God bless you.